Hey, Sony, keep my favorite characters' names out your fucking mouth! Dude, it's a Morbius movie. Keep my favorite characters' names out your fucking mouth! No. Morbius isn't even one of my favorite characters. But this movie sucked. Buckle up. I'm about to utterly annihilate Morbius. So, I just had the displeasure of seeing Morbius, and... yeah, it was putrid dog water. Now, it's so easy to shit all over this movie and just pile on to the other hundreds of reviews that have already shit on it, and I could be doing something actually productive with my life right now. But no, this has to be done. Sony needs to know that this isn't good enough. These half-baked, poorly executed piles of shit aren't gonna cut it anymore. Strap in, because ranting about this movie and tearing it apart is such low-hanging fruit. But today, I'm reaching up, I'm grabbing it, and I'm taking a bite. This is an utter annihilation of Morbius. Now, if you love this movie, I am genuinely happy for you. I am glad you saw a movie that you liked. I'm not trying to take that away from you. I'm not trying to kill your joy. And I'm not making fun of you for liking it. I'm just making fun of the film itself. And of course, there will be spoilers out the ass. First off, the good. Even though there's not much of it. I gotta admit, the first 5 minutes weren't terrible. The opening of this movie, the opening shot, him going to the other country, cutting his hand open to the bats, letting the bats come to him so he could capture the bats. That whole scene, it wasn't great, it wasn't good, it wasn't compelling, it wasn't necessarily well written, but it wasn't terrible. The acting also wasn't terrible. Jared Leto was serviceable as Dr. Michael Morbius. He was doing his thing. He was there saying lines. I believe that he was on set in a movie playing this character. Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. It was okay, serviceable. Serviceable acting all across the movie. None of it was really super cringy or took me out of it. They did the best with what they were given, and it wasn't much. And then some of the visuals were admittedly cool. There were a couple shots where they almost nailed that horror vibe. It almost captured that atmosphere for maybe like 4% of the movie, but there were a couple moments where I was like, okay, it's pretty good. Also, his sonar ability, that was visually interesting. The way that it pulsed out and he could like feel the world. Rip off of Daredevil maybe? Yes. But it wasn't terrible. See, everything good in the movie wasn't really good. It wasn't great. It wasn't well handled. It just wasn't ass. It wasn't trash. So anything that wasn't absolutely garbage in this movie, it's good, I guess. So like his abilities, some of the visuals, a little part of the score, some of the acting, not spectacular, but they weren't the worst thing ever. I'm not gonna act like this is the worst movie ever and everything in it was fucking garbage. Some things were okay. Visuals, acting, his abilities, everything else was balls. First off, this movie straight stole the Batman Begins theme. Not just kind of hinted towards it, not just you could tell there was an inspiration. No. They took it from Batman Begins and they lifted it for this movie. There's even a scene where he has bats flowing around him and you hear the and he was like sitting there like Batman with that score, and I was thinking, I've literally seen this scene before in a better film. It just lifted the song and the scene from another better movie and put it into this movie, which is something that this movie does a lot. It takes a lot of other elements from other films that did it better, just takes it, twists it a little bit, and puts it in this movie with zero personality of the other movies that did it first. That's one of my biggest complaints about this movie, is that it has no identity. It has no personality. It has no artistic integrity. It has no style. It has no substance. It has nothing really. And I'm not gonna say that they didn't put any effort into it or they didn't even try at all, because effort is something that you can't really quantify. It's not a tangible thing. I truly believe in my heart there were tons of people, hundreds of people on this movie that tried their hardest, worked hours and hours. They really tried. They put their hearts into it. They tried to make a good movie. They just failed. They were inept at it. And boy, it starts with the script. That terrible, terrible fucking script. Let me back up and start from the beginning. The movie basically starts with a flashback where we see Michael Morbius meet his soon-to-be best friend Milo. And these are just fake characters. These are nothing characters. Hollow cardboard cutouts in the place of actual characters. You couldn't convince me that these were real children. The dialogue was so bad. So Milo hobbles into this clinic where they're taking care of people with that disease where you walk on crutches. I don't know what it's called, I'm sorry. And then, instead of actually building character and letting these two kids get to know each other, they immediately, like a minute and a half in, he's like, yes, we are two against many. We are weirdos. We have this degenerative neurological problem with our spine. We can't walk. And the kid playing Morbius isn't actually saying what he would say in that moment. He's saying what the script needs us to know. He's explaining the backstory and the plot of what's wrong with him through dialogue to Milo. And they're supposed to be establishing that they're these two best friends that are against the world with each other. But they get this one single solitary scene where they talk for like 3 minutes. It's all fucking plot gobbledygook garbage. And then it cuts to them as adults. And we're supposed to care. The whole movie is predicated on the fact that these two guys are best friends, so that when, spoilers again, when Milo turns and they have to fight each other in the end, you're supposed to feel it. These are lifelong best friends. They've been through the shit together for years, and when they have to fight each other and try to kill each other, it's supposed to be painful. But they set it up with one little scene where they talk for, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 minutes? I don't fucking believe they're best friends. It's just, forced, crappy relationships. And when the whole movie is set on this relationship, this central relationship, the foundation of the movie fails. You had one job in this movie: set the foundation. Even if the rest of the movie was a mansion, the foundation is Play-Doh. The whole plot, the whole story, you don't care, because you don't get the time to develop with these characters. You don't get good writing to develop these characters. They don't feel like characters. They have zero personality, zero traits, zero things that show who they are, show their personalities, other than they're crippled. They're just crippled people. That's all they are. They have nothing to them. They're hollow. This is shitty, shitty writing. And once this scene happened in the hospital, I knew the movie was going to be shit. I knew it. I was like, if this is how they're basing the character, this is what I'm supposed to be invested in for the rest of the film. Then after they meet, there is an idiotic scene where after they've had maybe 5 minutes together of dialogue, Milo passes out for some reason. His machine malfunctions that he's on, that's pumping blood into him or something, and he slumps over and he's dead. So Michael takes a spring out of a pen and sticks it in the back of his machine. Milo, oh my god, you fixed my machine! And then the doctor, their pseudo father figure, the head of the clinic that they're at, he's like, that was marvelous what you did. You stuck this spring into the back of a machine. Now, because of your gifts, we're gonna send you off to an awesome, super cool school for the gifted, because you put a spring in the back of a machine. And he sends him off to the school of gifted because I don't know why. We're supposed to believe that Morbius is like this really smart guy, but he took a spring from a pen and put it in a machine where the spring was missing. And for that, he gets an all-expenses-paid trip to this special school for genius children. And then it just cuts to him getting this award. He develops this synthetic blood. He's just all of a sudden this insanely genius-level chemist who can create these biochemical things. It's like, where did this come from? Because he stuck a spring in a machine? Is that all of the character development we're gonna get from this guy? He's crippled and he's smart. Just crippled and smart. No other discernible personality traits. Nothing. That's all he is. They boil him down to that. And for that reason, and every other character is boiled down to one trait. There's the cripple guy, his crippled friend, the dad figure, the straight-laced detective, and the hot girlfriend. All of these characters are just hollow archetypes. They're building blocks. They're like what you write in not even the first draft, in what you write in the notes in the outline of a draft. These aren't characters. These are character stereotypes. These are cardboard cutouts. Fuck this movie. I noticed a couple of scenes where the editing was also really weird. There's a scene where Michael Morbius is getting an award, and he's at the ceremony, and when he accepts the award, he gets up to go to the podium to accept it, and it just cuts away. Halfway through him just standing up, it just cuts to another scene, an establishing shot of a city. It was like, Michael Morbius, you win the award. Come up and get it. Yay! And then there was a beautiful moment about 20 minutes into the movie when they realized that if he wants to get this surgery done, this procedure to make him into the living vampire, it has to be done over international waters. He tells Milo, if I'm gonna do this, it needs to be over international waters, okay? And Milo's like, yeah, let's do it. So it cuts immediately to a shot of a ship, and there's just text at the bottom that says, international waters. They couldn't even be bothered. You know what? Maybe they didn't try. Maybe they fucking didn't try. I don't know. It's like if you're in a movie, you're gonna say, alright, I'm going to the grocery store. Then it cuts to an establishing shot of a grocery store and just says, grocery store. Like, just no effort in that. Little moments like that are just weird. Weird cutaways, weird edits. Lazy dog shit. Poop. Then, he gets the procedure. He turns into Morbius the living vampire. And it's kind of lame. He's flying around through the shadows, hacking and slashing these guys. He's getting some Batman-like kills, grabbing them and hoisting them up to the shadows, and he's slicing some people and he's slashing their throats, but it's so PG. It's not even PG-13. There are a couple of parts of blood splatter. A little blood gets on the camera lens. You see a little blood on a guy's hand. You see some blood after it happens on the floor, even though they're supposed to not have any anymore. We'll get to it. But like the violence, this is a vampire movie. Come on, this is a vampire movie. He's supposed to be ripping people's throats out. It's a horror action movie. It felt like it could have been PG. He slashes somebody, and they're just like, wait, let me cover up the non-cut. Okay. And oh man, the reveal of Morbius. The big reveal. The movie's been building up to this. Not very well. It's been building up to this moment. Oh, what does he look like? What is it gonna be like? The transformation. What is it? In every movie, every superhero movie, horror movie, if there's a monster or superhero, you're waiting for the suit up scene. The scene where they transform into the monster. The scene to see how they do it. What is it gonna look like? What's the big reveal? This one fucking sucked. I actually laughed at it. It's literally a shot of this. He lunges at a guy, you don't see his face, and then he goes... You couldn't even get the vampire reveal right. In a horror movie like this, like Wolfman, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Dracula, the Hulk, something. One of these things. You need to get the fucking reveal right. Nothing else. A monster movie needs to have a great reveal. Reveal the monster in all of its glory, in a unique, awesome way. Not just a fucking generic insert shot of him going... Like, he wasn't even trying in that. He just... Oh my god. It was so lame. But it was funny. I think this is genuinely a movie that I will rewatch and laugh at. This is a great movie to watch if you're drunk or high. Don't drive drunk or high, but if you're at your home when this comes out on DVD or streaming, you get your friends together, you get some fucking dip, you get a party going, you get fucking drunk, and just roast this movie. This is the perfect movie for that. There are so many laughable moments, laughable edits, laughable acting, laughable CGI. We'll fucking get to the CGI! But, wait for it, we're only 24 minutes into the movie. Let that sink in. They had to establish everything. His character, who he is, what he wants, establish a relationship with his best friend, with the love interest, show him work on the project, and become the monster, all in under 25 minutes. Holy fucking dog shit. This was incredibly rushed. When he became Morbius, I literally couldn't believe it was happening so early. Maybe not have it happen an hour 15 into the movie, but damn, give the character some time to breathe. They had to establish everything, every relationship, every motivation, every little step into becoming Morbius. Him becoming Morbius in 24 minutes. And it was just a complete dud. It fell completely flat because when he becomes Morbius, I don't care about him. I fucking don't even know who he is. Really what he wants in life other than to not be crippled. That's his only characteristic. Is he crippled? He doesn't want to be crippled. Milo's crippled, doesn't want to be crippled. That's it. What am I supposed to care about? Why am I supposed to care that he's turning into this haunting, disgusting vampire and that he can't control it? I don't know who I'm caring for. They didn't establish it well enough. 23 minutes is not enough time to establish 4 characters and their motivations and the process of becoming a monster or a superhero or whatever the fuck he is. Maybe if you had a really, really talented writer, maybe they could pull off 24 minutes. Maybe. Not this writer, not this movie. And that brings me to the fact that the movie has a generic plot. It's so pedestrian. Every single element from this movie you have seen done before. Even if everything in the movie isn't absolutely awful, it's terribly uninspired, which can be one of the worst things you can be. Unoriginal, uninspired, boring, generic. How do you have so many things happening so quickly, but have me not care? It's astonishing. It seems like they actually put effort into making it uninspired and bad. I literally couldn't believe how much I didn't care about these characters. It has the generic plot of the doctor tries and fails and then succeeds in his experiment. He turns into the monster. He can't control it. He goes from skinny to buff. There's a training montage where he's jumping around and figuring out what his powers are. Every single fucking element from this movie. You have seen it in other superhero movies. Superhero movies in particular. Every trope, every fucking line, the music, the plot beats, every character interaction, motivation. You have seen it before. You have seen this movie just done better. So he kills these guys on this ship. Murders them in cold blood. Vampire slashing and gashing. He's sucking their blood out, sucking them to the bone. Just mangling them, eating their flesh, drinking their blood, making them into fucking corpses. Cold, dead corpses. Murder. He sees the footage of this, vomits, realizes what he did. Then, in like 10 minutes later, he's talking to someone else, and he just says, "What happened on that ship cannot happen again." He's just so docile about it. He's so casual. Yeah, remember like that kind of bad thing that happened that one time? Can't let that happen again. No, dude! You turned into a vampire and destroyed these fucking 8 men. You ate their flesh and drank their blood and murdered them. You puked because of it, and now you're just like, it's that one bad thing. It's like that hit and run I did that one time. I can't allow that to happen again. No. Can we have him actually be affected by it? Can we actually see some regret? Some character? Nah, he's just like, I can't let this happen again. I'm gonna talk into my thing. Click. How long until I need blood? Oh, I need blood in 6 hours? Okay, I'll drink blood. What are my powers? Oh, I have sonar? That's cool. Oh, I can't let the beast overtake me. Like, Jared Leto is kind of underacting. He overacts a lot and projects really big. He's theatrical in a lot of his performances. Woohoo, crazy! In this film, he's underacting. He's holding back maybe too much. It's one of his most generic, forgettable roles ever. I don't remember many actual lines of dialogue he had because it's so forgettable. He's just this guy who's crippled and now he's a vampire. It's like, oh god. Damn, Jared Leto's a good actor. This movie just took something away from him. I didn't like it. Now, going back to Milo, his best friend. Why the fuck is his name Milo? When he meets Morbius, his name is Lucian. And for some reason, he gives him the name Milo. And then he just takes that name, and that's his name for the rest of his life. He's Milo now. Just because some random kid that he met for like 5 minutes gave him a new name, he just takes it and he's Milo for the rest of the movie. Milo. What the fuck? It was so random. His name's Lucian. Well, at the end, they try to play it for this emotional moment. Morbius has to inject him with this thing and kill him, and he's like, I'm scared, don't kill me, you're my best friend. And he calls him Lucian, so I guess they're trying to, they try to give you this powerful moment, but yet again, I didn't care. Just thought it was really stupid that his name was Lucian, he called him Milo one time, and he just takes that name forever. It's like the writer of this movie doesn't understand how humans work. And then, in yet another hilarious scene, Morbius is locking himself into this room to see how long he can go without drinking blood. He's timing it. He wants to see how long he can keep the beast at bay without drinking any kind of blood. Milo walks in, sees him going crazy on the floor, turning into a vampire, and unlike a normal person who would walk in and say, what the fuck is going on? Remind you, this is the first time he's seeing him since he had the operation and became Morbius. He didn't know what happened. Was it successful? Did he die? What's going on? This is the first time he's seeing him. He's on the floor going, give me blood, turning into a fucking vampire. And instead of saying, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? He's like, Michael, you did it, give me the cure. It was so fucking stupid. You're seeing your best friend writhing on the ground, asking you to feed him blood while he's turning into a fucking monster. And instead of saying, whoa, bro, what the fuck is going on? You say, I want what that is. I want what you took. Stupid. And this is where we are introduced to the detectives, aka a literal waste of time. These detectives do nothing. These detectives, why are these detectives in this movie? Why? Because you need detectives in a movie like this, I guess. They're just there to fill a character slot, to fill time. You don't need these guys. You can literally take them out of the plot. I'm not kidding. You can take them out of the script. Nothing is different. This is their character. They show up to a crime scene. They look around. Tyrese is like, what the hell happened here? Ooh, bite marks. The other guy makes some kind of snide remark or quip. Oh, I don't know, ha ha ha. Then they leave. Then they'll go to question somebody. Then it'll cut back to them walking into a crime scene. They'll discover more bodies. Tyrese says, what's going on here? The other guy cracks a joke. Then they'll show up to another crime scene over and over. Literally 4 times in this movie. 4 fucking times. They just cut to a shot of dead bodies and these detectives walk up on it and say, what happened here? That's all they do in this movie. That's all they do. Even they're the worst detectives in the world. They literally do nothing. They solve nothing. They are the antithesis of Matt Reeves' Batman. They do literally nothing. They even go and interrogate the girl that gave Morbius the injection. She was on that ship. They know she was on that ship illegally doing these illegal experiments. She goes to the hospital. They show up. They question her and say, what were you doing there? Why were you there? She's like, I don't remember. And they're like, okay, you're all good. And they just leave her alone. They don't press, they don't try, they don't do any kind of tactics that a good detective would do. They are a waste of time, a waste of space. Fuck these characters. They're not even like super garbage or super cringy or super over the top, or they're just a waste of time. Why in the hell are they in this movie? Why is Tyrese Gibson in this movie? He doesn't even make jokes. It's the other guy that makes jokes. That's when you know it's fucking bad. When he's the hard-boiled detective. Oh my god. I know it's just one little part of the movie, but they are such a waste of time. Show up to a crime scene, do nothing. Show up to a crime scene, do nothing. Investigate a crime scene, do nothing. Investigate another crime scene, and do nothing. Wow, what great characters. And I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about how stupid this movie is. There's a scene where after it's established all of Morbius's powers, he has this echolocation type senses that he can kind of see in a superhuman way. He has superhuman strength, superhuman agility. He can jump, damn near fly. He can jump 40 stories in one leap. He can actually dodge bullets. He's super quick, super fast, superhuman. He's running from Tyrese Gibson. He jumps up to the ceiling. He's climbing on the walls, dodging bullets. He gets to the top of the roof. There's nowhere to go. He has nowhere to go. Oh no. Tyrese catches up to him, puts a gun to him probably 20 feet away, says stop right there. And then it just cuts to him in prison. Once again, a terrible edit. I was like, wait, what happened? He's in prison? It cuts from him on this rooftop to him writing in a journal in orange threads. Like, dude, you have superhuman ability. Did the movie actually forget what they showed us in the beginning? That he even says, I have superhuman ability. Holy shit, I can do crazy things. And a guy with a gun 20 feet away from him actually stops him to the point to where he captures him and puts him in prison. Dude, this movie, just everything that needs to happen for the plot to move on, it happens. Characters just say things, characters do things, they don't do things, they're inconsistent. Whatever it is for the plot, whatever you need to know, or whatever needs to happen, happens. There was no thought put into how do these scenes actually connect together. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. How the fuck did a regular cop catch Morbius after we're shown all of the crazy shit he can do? Just absolutely ridiculous. You know, is this movie the worst thing ever? No, I don't think so. Is it the worst comic book movie of all time? Top 10, top 15? Probably not. But it is so painfully inconsistent, boring, and generic. It's getting up there. It's teetering in the top 20 to 30 worst comic book movies ever. I'm not kidding. For the effects that we have today, for the quality of filmmaking we have today, the technology we have, the knowledge that we have on how to make a good superhero movie, how to make a good horror movie, decades and decades of films, examples on how to do great things. We're in 2022. The fact that this movie is still doing these things, that it should have been released in 2004, maybe 2005, if I'm being generous, the fact that it is still so regressive and so lazy and so ugly and so uninspired in today's age, when you have these crazy movies and these crazy directors doing these insane, awesome artistic things, and you get this boring, generic, gray pile of shit. I'm gonna judge it harsher because you should do better nowadays. Is it as bad as Fan 4 Stick or Catwoman? No, but it's getting up there. It might be the worst superhero movie of the past maybe 5 or 6 years. Suicide Squad, Eternals might be on the same level. It's in that range. Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84, Eternals, it's right there. It's right fucking there. But as I was saying, after everything that I just laid out, this movie has the gall, the unmitigated gall and the balls to have the villain once again be a mirrored evil version of the hero. Holy fuck, never seen that before, have I? I ain't never fucking seen that before in a movie. I've never seen the hero be the same as the villain. The villain got the same powers, gonna fight the hero. I ain't never seen it. I ain't never fucking seen it. God damn it. How many times do we have to see this? After all of the examples of how it lifts from other movies, and how it has tropes from other movies, and all of the countless times, the dozens of times we've seen a villain just be the same as the hero, they do it again. How fucking uninspired. Good lord. And the CGI? the CGI? It's not good. The fucking CGI on this movie, not the worst I've ever seen, but it's not good. Every time that Matt Smith, Milo, every time Milo turns into the fucking vampire thing, I don't even know what his villain name is. What's his villain name? Is he just Milo? I don't know. The CGI on his face literally looked like it was from 2009, 2008. Maybe even before that. Shit, Spider-Man 3 had just as good CGI in 2007 on his face. When Morbius is flying around, sometimes it looks good. I will admit, sometimes it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. Sometimes it's putrid garbage. And their fight in the subway was ugly. Fucking ugly. It's just these two CGI blobs flying at each other with smoke behind them going, ah, ah. And they do that thing that Zack Snyder does when he speeds it up and then slow it down and then back into the action. And the action is like if Dragon Ball Z was done wrong. It's really fast paced. They're flying around doing a bunch of crazy shit. They're punching each other and shockwaves are coming out of it. But it's like Zack Snyder, Dragon Ball Z, if it was done wrong. And you know, when everything else is shit, the characters, the plot, the writing, the directing, the visuals, I would hope the action would be good. But it's not. It's just as bad as the other things. If the script was terrible, the directing was bad, the visuals were the acting was okay, and the action was incredible, maybe you could forgive it and it could be a guilty pleasure, like, okay, it's got some good action, let's skip to the awesome vampire fighting. It can't even give us that. It can't even do the fights right. Oh my god. And then even the fight scenes expose the inconsistent character. Because sometimes in the movie, he can control the monster, but sometimes he can't. Conveniently, sometimes in a fight, when he needs to, he knows all the moves, he knows how to do all the shit, but then other times he can't control it, and he's turning back into a human, and other times, oh, I don't know, I'll drink blood to get stronger, but other times, when his appetite is insatiable, the monster gets even stronger when he doesn't have blood. So sometimes he can control it, sometimes blood works, sometimes blood doesn't work. In fights, he can do things, but then he doesn't really understand how to do things. And then when he flies, that moment that he flies, it's better than the WW84 moment where her excuse is just feel the air. When he has his echolocation, you can see like the waves going, like there's this magical draft that he. Oh, okay. Explaining it sounds stupid. In the movie, it kind of made sense. There's this draft, this natural animalistic draft that he can feel, and he just kind of can jump and fly into it. But even the flying, it wasn't this grand moment. He's just like flying in a subway in a jumpsuit. Every single moment that's supposed to be epic or grand or a big reveal or a big moment, big character moment, it falls flat. It's just like, yeah, how much time is left? Oh my god, it's only been 30 minutes? Fuck, it's only been 40 minutes? This movie is an hour 38 minutes long. Not a super long movie. And they had to add dumb shit like the detectives and some extra dumb scenes of Milo doing some side shit just to make it get that runtime. This movie literally could have been one episode of a television show. This Morbius movie could have been condensed into a 40-minute Spider-Man episode. And for some reason, they stretched it out into an hour 38, which it didn't even need to be that. It didn't even have the content to fill that. This movie is rushed, but also feels like it's dragging. I'm not kidding. I might rather watch Zack Snyder's Justice League again than this movie. And that movie was 4 hours long, and I did not enjoy it. But this felt like it was 4 hours! How did Milo become a vampire in the first place? Because we see in the movie, you need an assistant, you need Dr. Morbius's knowledge, you need the formula, you need this spinning machine, you need somebody to take the injection and put it in the specific little part of your spine. You can't do it yourself, especially if you're crippled. You need all these elements to come together in these really specific areas. You have to time it right, you have to do it right with all this special equipment. Milo is not a scientist, he's just his rich friend. And he never specifically tells him how he did it. He didn't say, well, you gotta do it this way, and let me write it down for you. You gotta put it in your spine like this, and have your assistant put it in this turny thing. No, he just steals the formula from him when he goes to visit him, and then he shows up as a vampire. I guess he just took it through the vein, which means, did Morbius have to take it in the spine? Did he take it in the spine? We don't know because they didn't show it, because they knew that it was stupid and that we would question how he could replicate it, and how he could replicate it so well, and how does he control it better than Morbius. Morbius has been studying this shit for years. Milo knows nothing about this shit. He's just some rich dude. How he got rich, we don't even know. His only characteristic is that he's crippled. But I was wondering, because the injection isn't like just some heroin that you can just shoot into your vein like any schmo Joe on the street. There's a specific way to do it. And they had to do it off camera because they're fucking lazy. And it didn't make sense. And then we come to yet another funny scene, the fourth hilarious scene in the movie. This might have been the worst scene in the film. This little 3-minute segment where Morbius goes and he's following these guys. He can hear them with his sonar. They're talking about they have some kind of street level lab that they're working out of, selling drugs, doing something in this lab. He has no sanctioned legal lab that he can work at. He's on the run from the cops. So he needs to follow these guys, go to their lab, and use their shit to make an antidote. So he follows them there, tells them, guys, I don't want to hurt you. Leave the equipment, and you leave. Give it to me now. And for some reason, out of nowhere, he starts quipping. Actual quips. Now, before in the movie, he made a few lighthearted jokes just because he's a playful guy. But he's never been known to quip like Tony Stark. He starts quipping out of nowhere like Spider-Man, teasing these thugs. And I was just watching it in awe. I couldn't believe it. The dialogue was so terrible. He's this crippled guy that he's so sheltered, and he talks like this the whole movie. And he's very reserved, and he's very soft-spoken, and he doesn't really, make a bunch of jokes, and he doesn't really have a discernible personality. But then in this scene, he's like, let me show you where your carpal tunnel is, and let me show you where your phalanges are. Here's the little piggy. Little piggy went to market. Hey, leave that. Leave the hot Cheetos. He fucking makes a joke about hot Cheetos. The guy says, who are you? And he says, I am Venom. Oh my god. He starts quipping about fucking fingers and venom and hot Cheetos, and it's just, ugh. It's everything wrong with the MCU. This movie took all of the bad things about the MCU, the forced comedy, the quips, some of the underdeveloped characters. They took all of the bad stuff, some of the bad CGI, and just put it in this movie. They overflowed this movie with bad MCU tropes. That scene completely took me out of it. That was the first scene where I paused, and I pondered if I was going to finish the movie. Like, the scene was so bad that it's making me lose my voice for some reason. I haven't even been talking for that long, and I'm losing my voice because this movie and this scene was so bad. What does that tell you? But then, oh my god, no. That wasn't the cringiest scene in the movie. That wasn't. They fucking do one better. Out of nowhere. Milo, it cuts to him. You see Jared Leto doing his shit. He's working on a formula. He's talking to his girl. You see the story. It randomly cuts to Milo, and this is, I guess, character development. This is building up his personality. It cuts to him in his apartment, and there's a montage where he's voguing in the mirror, dancing. He's dancing while getting dressed, putting his shirt on with his sexy abs, and he's looking in the mirror, and he's dancing, and he's making vampire faces. He's like, oh my god. This was genuinely one of the hardest scenes to watch in any superhero movie of the past 20 years. It was the definition of cringe. It made the last scene look like fucking Schindler's List. This scene was terrible. Please, if you haven't seen this movie, if you have seen it, let me know what you thought about this scene. Go look up this scene. Go find this scene. I will rewatch this movie purely for this scene. This scene is pure comedy. It was pure comedy cringe gold. It was terrible. And Milo, fucking Milo, was a terrible villain. He was nothing but a crippled dude who was just angry at the world, and then he becomes a vampire and starts dancing. Oh! And then the whole time through this movie, I thought it had been 3-4 weeks, maybe a month and a half, all the shit that's been happening. And Morbius is like, man, it's been a hard week. A fucking week? All this shit's happened in a week? Dude, the editing and the choices they make with the characters and the stuff that they put in there, there's no concept of time. There's no concept of anything. I thought it had been like a month and a half. It had been 7 days. Dude, you couldn't tell? This movie is so sloppy and sloppily put together. And then, if there weren't already enough tropes from other movies in this film, the father figure dies in the hero's arms again, and it's so bad because this guy gets like 3 scenes. You wouldn't even know that him and Jared Leto know each other because their chemistry is just nothing. The guy shows up to Milo's apartment to try to, of course, talk him out of being a villain. Milo, I don't like what you've become. You're evil. Fucking Milo. He slashes him in the stomach. The most blood we see in the movie. Blood is pouring out, seeping into his shirt. Then he slashes his throat. Then he punches him with his superhuman strength hard enough for a fucking sonic boom wave, a sound wave to come off of it, punches him across the room. And you're like, oh shit, this guy's fucking toast. He's dead. He's annihilated. Jared Leto shows up. Of course, the guy's holding on for dear life. After he slashes him again, punches him across the room with superhuman strength, he fucking bites his neck and sucks his blood out. And he's still alive. He's still alive purely to give Leto a fucking forced, dumb, go be a hero little speech. And it is so forced. It is so terrible. Every single scene, every single character moment in this movie didn't make sense because it was purely to move the plot along. It wasn't because they developed these characters in a natural, realistic way and we cared about them and I wanted to see this death. No, it was purely, oh shit, we should make his pseudo-father figure die right here. Oh, they did it in Iron Man. They did it in Captain America. Oh, they did it in that movie. In that movie, we gotta have it. So they did it. It was an arbitrary scene that did nothing for the movie. It only detracted from the originality. And good God, the movie's getting close to ending. And I just wanted to end at this point. At this point, I just got over the warehouse scene where he's cracking jokes about hot Cheetos and Milo's dancing in front of the mirror making vampire faces. At this point, I just want it to be over. Please, God, be over. And we're only like an hour 10 in. An hour and 10 minutes in. Then, to pile on top of that, they have Milo kill the love interest. Straight slashes her, sucks her blood out, whatever, kills her on a rooftop, and I was genuinely surprised. The one surprise in the movie was that, oh my god, the love interest, the generic girlfriend, she dies. She's fucking dead. And Morbius, it's the first time, it's supposed to be this big moment, it's the first time that he's gonna suck human blood when he wants to. And she's like, dude, just do it and go beat him. And he sucks her blood and starts flying, and it's so ridiculous. And I'll explain why it's stupid in a second. And this leads us to the final fight, which is probably as good as you expect. They fly at each other. It's a big, ugly CGI fight in a big, dark, abandoned warehouse where you can't see anything. They're hiding the CGI. It's really reminiscent of Bloodshot. The way that the CGI looks and the way that they slowed the camera down and the angles of the fight, the way that they're falling and slashing each other, it looks exactly like Bloodshot. It was terrible. It wasn't even like, this is okay. No. The end fight was bad. It's just them, the same thing in the subway. They're just flying at each other. He slashes Morbius once in the stomach, but you don't really feel like he's in danger. But then maybe the coolest moment of the movie happens. They're at the final fight. Fucking Milo, he's kicking his ass. He doesn't know what to do. Of course, the bad guy's winning. Oh, I can't win. I can't beat him. What am I gonna do? He has this sonar moment where he kind of like feels the environment. He feels the whole city. And he like summons a bunch of bats. And he shoots the bats at Milo, pins him up against the wall. It's this big, cool moment where these bats are flying around. But once again, they steal the fucking Batman Begins music. So right when I was like, ooh, something interesting's happening, boom, theft. It just completely ruined the scene. Pins him up against the wall with bats, which pretty cool. Then he sticks him in the stomach with something that kills him. I wasn't even sure what it was. I thought he was curing him, but it killed him. And then they tried to have this forced moment where he's like, I'm your brother. I'm Milo. I love you. You can't kill me. And we're supposed to feel something, but you really don't. They didn't do the legwork. They didn't do it justice. These characters are terrible. And I had no reason to care. And I didn't care. So he kills Milo, he flies away with bats, and then the movie just ends. And I was like, I mean, I'm glad it's over, but okay, it seems like they were just like, fuck it. Let's get this shit over with. We don't really have a good ending, so let's just end it here. I was expecting something, some kind of cathartic moment, some kind of speech, some kind of awesome last monologue. I don't know, something to make me feel something, something that made the ending really have an impact. It was nothing. He stabs him, no dialogue, he flies away, and then the movie just cuts and says Morbius. It just falls completely flat and I feel nothing. It just wanted to end. Like, what the hell? And I just felt this overwhelming feeling of just nothingness. It was vapid. It was empty. I felt numb. I felt zero anything. No emotion. Not even anger. No sadness. No empathy. No excitement. Just what can I say? It's over. Like, I don't know. It's just so bleh. But oh, wait a second. Do you remember that one moment that I said I was surprised? Like, oh, they really did that. They killed the girlfriend. I genuinely can't believe it. Yeah, she comes back to life. She literally goes into the camera, teasing her as a living vampire for the next fucking movie. The one decent, surprising thing they did in the movie, they had to take back. I couldn't believe it. They fucking couldn't just give me one thing. One praise of that was a surprising moment. They had to ruin it. They did one ballsy thing, one thing different, one thing that made them kind of stand out from other superhero movies, one fucking thing, and they couldn't even let it last. And it doesn't even make sense, because she gets her blood sucked from Morbius, which means she's fucking dead. As we saw, all the guys on the ship, all the guys that Milo kills, all these people that are killed, we see fang marks in their neck, and we see that they got all their blood sucked from them. They die. Not a single person in the whole movie ever comes back from this and becomes a vampire. I was wondering, I mean, if they bite them, is it like other vampire stories where they become vampires? No. They're just dead. They put a sheet over them and they're fucking done. Except for her, because she's one of the main characters. Breaking continuity, breaking what you established just to have some dumb, stupid reveal in the end that led to nothing because this ain't getting a sequel. Fuck no, it better not. And then, before my voice goes completely out, we get to the terrible, terrible post-credit scenes. And I'm not exaggerating, these might be my least favorite post-credit scenes I've ever seen in any film. So how do I even explain this? Remember in No Way Home, which this is apparently connected to, this is a part of the Venomverse, and now Venom's canon, and now Michael Keaton's in this, so it's all connected, it's all the fucking multiverse. Remember that movie that just came out in December 4 months ago? Do you remember that movie? When the sky opened up and Doctor Strange said, the spell is bringing in people from other dimensions, other multiverses that know who Peter Parker is. And then once the movie's over, he expels them back to their universe. It was never established that just characters from our universe get just thrown into other universes for no reason. Michael Keaton just suddenly, you see the sky open up and Michael Keaton just shows up in a jail cell. And of course he has to fucking quip, and it was so cheesy. It was so terrible. He just shows up and he's like, I hope the food in this joint's better. Oh my god, a fucking zinger? You come in, I like the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. He wasn't super quippy. He was kind of a serious guy. He had some humorous parts, but he wasn't fucking quippy. He just got fucking turned into another fucking multiverse. He has no idea where he is, and the first thing he does is quip. I hope the food's better in this joint. He's not gonna question, wait, what the fuck just happened? I just materialized in another fucking room? What the fuck's going on? No, his first thought is to quip. Oh my god, it was terrible. And then to make it worse, the second post-credit scene, it starts off with Morbius driving down the road with like stock footage from a Lincoln car commercial, and it literally looked like they were shooting a car commercial the way he was driving. You saw the sunset, and you saw his car going around, and he stepped out of the car, and I was expecting it to say, "Buy Chrysler," or something like a car commercial. He shows up to this abandoned field, and fucking Vulture shows up with terrible, horrendous ADR, voiceover. You could completely tell it was a reshoot. Like, they might have honestly reshot this 3 weeks ago. It was terrible. Vulture shows up and says, hey, Doc. Calls him Doc like Bugs Bunny. The dialogue is so bad here. He says, hey, Doc, I don't know how I got here. I think it had something to do with Spider-Man. Ah, fuck it. Guys like you and I, we should team up, have some fun. Just no subtlety. Just the writer saying straight up to you dumb fucks in the audience, hey, they're gonna team up. Everything that you need to know, he's gonna say it in a 12-second span. I don't know how I got here. I think it had something to do with old Spider-Man. What's up, Doc? You and I, we should team up. It was so fucking bad. And it was indicative of a terrible trend that's happening where these universes are just coming together without any thought. Before I said I think that these guys tried on this movie, of course, there are people that put their hearts into this. They didn't try with this. They did not fucking try. They thought, fuck, we need something to get people that are fans of the MCU to come in and watch our movie. Let's put Keaton in it. Not only that, let's lie to them in the trailer. All those lines and all those scenes he has with them in the trailer, they're not in there. False marketing. They're like 2 or 3 scenes they just took out. He's not in it. He's not in the whole film until the shitty post-credit scenes. The scene where Jared Leto walks by that mural of Spider-Man, that's not in the movie. They just completely butchered this movie up and took shots out. They reshot shit. You could tell that they were working on this movie until the very end. No wonder they delayed it. This movie's a piece of fucking chopped up garbage, and this post-credit scene is indicative of every problem. No character development, rushed bullshit, forced continuity breaking, bad dialogue, cheesy quipping. Oh my god. And Michael Keaton, they didn't show his face because he wasn't on set, because it was a fucking obvious reshoot, and the ADR was terrible. What's up, Doc? I don't know how I got here. I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. It sounded like it might not even been Michael Keaton. It made no sense. And to the movie, to the actual film, it had nothing to do with it. Why would Morbius want to meet up with this guy that just showed up in his universe? I kind of understand why he would want to meet up with Morbius, but why would Morbius, who's trying to outrun the cops, why would he just be like, yeah, I'll meet with you in the middle of nowhere, give me your address, I'll GPS it in my fucking Lincoln, yeah. Why would he do that? Oh my god, now they're gonna build the Sinister Six with Chameleon, this Vulture, Morbius, Kraven, Venom maybe? This whole universe is disgusting. I hate it. I hate what this universe is becoming. They're using the Spider-Man brand to sell their movies, but like not putting any thought into how to do it in a coherent way. They're just using the characters and thinking, well, maybe one day if we pile up these movies, Venom, Venom 2, Kraven, Morbius, Vulture, Chameleon, all these guys, Madam Web, then we can pluck the Spider-Man from the MCU that you guys have built up and that you love into our universe and you'll watch our film. Fuck you. If they make a Sinister Six movie, I'm not fucking watching it. This is dog shit. I'm tired of this dog shit universe. Venom was shitty. Kraven will be shitty. I hope not. Morbius was absolutely shitty. Oh my god. And how did the Vulture come into this universe with nothing but the clothes on his back, and he crafts another Vulture armor that looks the exact same from the MCU, which in that universe, you need Stark Tech and Chitauri Tech to make the wings and the suit and the guns like he had. But he just has it again, the exact same suit in a different universe. They didn't even think about it. They didn't even put thought into this post-credit scene. And I know it's just a post-credit scene. It doesn't have really anything to do with the actual movie. It's just a tease for things to come. But oh my god, if this is a tease for things to come, I don't want to fucking come. I want to go. Fuck this movie. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. It's not a diabolical piece of rotting garbage. It doesn't make me want to riot. But it's really, really bad. And it deserved to be annihilated. This movie is lacking everything that a good movie has. Good acting, doesn't have it. Good directing, it's nowhere. The cinematography looks like a fucking TV show. Character development, none. Music, stolen. The story, bad. Script, terrible. The action, subpar. Oh my god. Every single element of this movie, it's hollow, it's empty, it's ugly. The sets, the costumes, the universe is actually ugly. It's generic. It steals from other movies. This movie doesn't have an identity, and sometimes that's worse than being just terrible. In 2022, a superhero movie, if you don't have an identity, you don't even know what you are, you're just made to connect to Spider-Man, I respect you even less. Fuck Morbius. Fuck this movie and everything it stands for. For movies, for franchises, for the MCU, for Sony, all of it. Fuck you, Sony. This movie was ass. If you loved it, good on you. I'll probably watch this again when it comes out. I'll watch it and make fun of it. It'll probably be a good fucking time. I might do a stream doing it. On every level, this film is a failure. This film fails. This is hands down. Now, I haven't seen a ton of movies. Hands down the worst movie of 2022. And I think it'll be a contender for the worst movie throughout the year. Because I judge a movie on the resources they had and the product they give me from those resources. When you have this kind of budget, you have this kind of talent, you have these kind of resources, you're connected to the MCU, you have all of this, the technology, it's all there. The blueprint for a great superhero film is there. We've seen it countless times and you just didn't follow it. Didn't follow the comic books, didn't follow the blueprint on how to make a good movie, didn't follow anything, didn't follow your instincts, they didn't do anything special, anything memorable. I'm gonna forget about this movie after I edit this video. This movie was actual clouds in the air. They're there for a bit and they're gonna evaporate and I'll forget about them and then I'll see new clouds later. This movie is nothing. Don't waste your time on it. Do not pay money. Please, please. I know you work hard for your money, at least some of you. You go to work, you work hard for this money. Do not spend it on this. Go buy some ice cream, go buy something for your family, go buy some more shoes, go buy a fucking taco, go buy a boat, go buy a car, whatever you do. Do not spend money on this. We have to let them know that this shit won't slide. This shit is not good enough anymore. This ain't gonna cut it. 2022, you can't make a movie that feels like it came out in 2002. This movie feels like it's 20 years old. Maybe, honestly, if this was made in 2001, 2002, when superhero movies were kind of finding their way, a lot of dark leather, cringy dialogue, bad directing, dark visuals, didn't really follow the comic books a ton. If this came out then, we might be looking on this as a classic. But after dozens and dozens of great movies, 20 years after it, when every single movie is raising the bar of doing something different, and even when the movies are bad, at least they're different. The Zack Snyder movies, I don't love them. Don't love Man of Steel, I like it. Don't love BVS, I hate it. Don't like Zack Snyder's Justice League. At least he did something different. You could tell it was a director's vision. It felt like he had his mark on it. This movie feels like it has nothing on it. It's empty. And now I am in an emptiness. People could honestly study this movie to figure out how to not make movies. I'm not kidding. Every single negative that I have in bad films is in this film. Everything you can do wrong, this film does do wrong. Morbius abso-fucking-lutely gets 2.5 out of 10 pickles from me. It's shit. If you like shit, go see it. Oh, but seriously, guys, tell me in the comments, what did you think about Morbius? Am I fucking insane? Am I missing something here? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you like me? Were you in the middle? Do you think, you're being a little too hard on it? Let me know. Let's talk about it. This movie is maybe not worth talking about, but I want to do it anyway. I want to hear what you think, because you just listened to what I think. Let's make this even. Let's talk about it in the comments. You know, there are more important things in the world than movies for me to get upset at, but this is what I decided to talk about. It was on my mind, and I'm glad I got it off my chest. I'm going to sleep soundly tonight. I'm gonna sleep like a fucking baby. Guys, I had a great time doing this. I hope you had a great time watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way to this point, you're a fucking champ. And until we meet again, peace!